Introducing Zentrix AI-powered trading signals service. Tired of second-guessing your trades? Zentrix AI scans the markets 24/7 with powerful, proven indicators built to give you clarity. You get 200+ signals every day on 15-minute, 1-hour, 4-hour, and daily charts. We cover Forex, crypto, commodities, indices, and stocks, so you're covered no matter what you trade. And the best part, you get all this delivered 3 ways, every day. Web alerts give you fast, clean access right from your dashboard. Telegram delivers real-time entries, confidence levels, sentiment, and trade duration. And email gives you the full breakdown, including 2 profit target levels and deep market analysis. Just hold $5 worth of ZTR. See what you can achieve with powerful AI trading intelligence by Zentrix. Try it now. And join our Telegram channel.
Okay guys, what's up? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. As always guys, if you are interested in the AI signal service, I'm going to drop the link to the community Telegram for Zentrix. You can find more updates there regarding the project, but if you are looking for the Telegram signal service, go to that link, go to the pinned messages at the top, and at the bottom you will see the link to the AI powered signal service. So if you are interested, check them out. There's a wide range of signals there, different ideas you can experiment with. If you are interested, it's completely free to join. Check out the Telegram, go to the pinned messages, and you'll be able to find it at the bottom. But welcome to another stream guys. What is up, Poppy? Welcome, hope you are doing well. So, as always guys, we'll go through the USD side of things first, take a look at the dollar, USD majors, gold and silver of course. If you do have any requests or any pairs you want me to take a look at, let me know, put it in the chat, we'll discuss and see what's going on. And of course, let me know any particular time frames as well, if you are looking at any. What's up Ivan, welcome to the stream, hope you are doing good. So, as always, guys, we'll start with the old DXY, which is looking pretty bearish. It's looking pretty bearish. Let's not beat around the bush here. Price is looking very bearish. We are pretty much coming into this area, which is the area I mentioned at the start of the week. I said if this level doesn't hold, well, this is going to be my focus. I'm still looking to buy the dollar, but I do need to see some type of signs of reversal. Market starting to consolidate, potentially momentum picking up bullish, wicks in this area. That's what I'll be looking at now for the DXY, because I want to see evidence of another higher low forming. We put one over here, put a second over here. Can we now put a third? That's the question I'll be asking. And if it looks like we are doing that, then of course I'll be looking to hop into some buys favoring USD, not necessarily buying the DXY, but shorting euro, shorting pound, and potentially some other USD pairs as well. So keeping a very close eye for the USD. We had a very aggressive push in NFP. That's kind of what scared me at the start of this week or at the end of last week, because it was such an aggressive move. And typically when you have behavior like that, and impulse, that's your inverse V-shaped pattern, normally does mean more downside. Not all the time, but normally does mean more downside. The V-shaped patterns, the inverse V-shaped patterns, are very, very powerful patterns actually. Don't want to sleep on them. They're very, very powerful patterns. So that kind of put me off the buys, but I did say if momentum picks up, well, you know, I'll entertain the buys if I do see that momentum pick up. But we never really saw signs of that happening. Yes, then the stream looked like price was just about breaking through, and since then till now, we kind of just kept falling. So dollar's looking pretty bearish. The structure for me is still bullish in the 4-hour chart, so I'm still trying to take advantage of that for a rally. We did break structure to our left. Nothing critical or significant. I would argue that this is the most significant high for the DXY, the last kind of major high we made after that low, and that gave us the new low here. So we haven't technically broken major structure, but we have broken through this high here, which is enough of an indication for me to be looking for a buy. We've got some type of break of structure, we've got some bullish structure at play, we've got some nice momentum in that previous bullish leg. It makes sense to be looking to buy. So I like the buys with the DXY, as I did coming into this into the week. It's just we've had quite an aggressive retracement. So now it's up to the dollar to start to slow down and give us some signs that, okay, a higher low is forming. We can get into some trades and hopefully take it back to highs or short euro, short pound, so on and so forth. So keeping an eye on the dollar, still bullish. I'm not looking to sell it. Need to see some signs of a reversal there and a higher low forming for me to entertain any trades, but we are in an interesting area. Euro USD, same situation as well. We pulled all the way back up to this area, not quite, but we're not far away from that zone. Again, really aggressive move. We had the V-shaped pattern here for euro, impulse down, small consolidation, impulse back up. Typically, that means more upside. And we have got that and a very aggressive move as well. So I want to start to see some signs of euro slowing down because this is a really strong move. Almost as strong as the move on the way down, which is not really a good sign. Typically, I want my retracements to be a lot slower than the impulsive leg. If that's the case, that's normally a good sign. It means that that move is likely to be a pullback. If it's just as aggressive, that could be a sign of a reversal. So I need to see price kind of slowing down, becoming a bit more corrective before I do jump into anything. But we are in an area which I'm looking for a lower high to form. We have one over here, second over there. I'm looking for a third. Same scenario as the DXY. We just about broke through some structure here. I wouldn't say it's the most significant swing low. I would say this is the most significant swing low. But of course, I'm not going to wait for price to break that before I do start to look to short. I would still entertain the idea of shorting now. I would still say it's a bit more of a counter trend trade, but I still like the idea. So I'm being careful with euro because the market for me as a whole is still bullish, but I am looking for shorts and I'm trying to go counter trend. And we do have some nice confidence in this area. So it's up to the market now to slow down, start to give me some signs of reversals of a lower high forming and give me a good entry signal. That's what I'm going to be looking at now for Euro USD. At the moment, still pretty bullish, not quite at my zone just yet, so a bit more upside would be nice. But I am going to be keeping a close eye to see how Euro develops over the next couple days, few days, and hopefully there could be some nice shorts, at least back to this area. Doesn't have to be a home run all the way back to the low here. Even a push to there, you could probably walk away for like a 1 to 2 potentially, depending on your entry, which is still a great trade. And maybe if we're lucky, we do get the big swing, but even a push there for me looks like a good idea. So we'll see as Euro develops, but that's kind of what I'm keeping an eye on. Pound USD was pretty bullish as well, nowhere near as bullish as Euro. Euro has been quite strong at the moment. Euro against a lot of currencies, it's been the stronger one out of them. Pound not so much. We actually got some pound news coming up later today, which is interesting because I do kind of favor some weakness for pound. So we'll see how that comes into play. But pound USD has hit this zone now. Prior support once, support twice. Now looking for it to act as resistance. We've got the prior lower highs 1 and 2. Pound USD did break significant structure in my opinion. This was the last swing low which gave us that high. We've completely broken through that and we've been putting lower highs since. So the plan for pound USD is very much looking for another lower high to form. And again, signs of shorts back into the swing low. So that's what I'm keeping an eye out for now for pound. Looking at evidence of a lower high forming in and around this area. I would say pound USD, we are quite corrective and we are quite slow paced compared to this big bearish move. So that's why I kind of like pound USD a lot more than euro, because euro's had a very strong sell but a very big buy. Pound USD's had a strong sell, but the buy hasn't been any type of threatening, to be honest. So I quite like the behavior of pound USD. I quite like the level we're trading into now. So now it's up to pound to actually give me some signs of a reversal and some entry signals. And then if I get that, hopefully can swing it at least back to the low there, but maybe further as well. So pound USD, I think probably is my favorite USD pair at the moment right now. Keeping a close eye on that pair. Things develop well. I'm looking to take some shorts. Dollar CAD, on the other hand, not looking too hot, I must admit. I mean, we could still see some upside for this one, but not from the level I was expecting at the start of the week. We had a lovely support level, resistance twice, and then, of course, we got the big breakout. This is essentially a consolidation, which price has spent quite a few days in before we did get a lovely break to the upside. So simply, I was looking for the retest of that area after the breakout and then a continuation, but unfortunately, we didn't get that, and price is closing below quite firmly there. So it's not a situation where, okay, price is breaking below, we cannot now see some upside. Sometimes price isn't always neat and tidy. Sometimes price will dip below a level, come back above, and then see some upside. So it's not that we can't rally here for dollar CAD, but it just means it's harder and the probability of us doing that is a little bit less. So for dollar CAD, I'm not really interested in the buy, especially when pound USD looks a lot better. I'd rather just focus on the higher quality opportunity when they're both kind of favoring the same idea. Dollar CAD, I'm still quite bullish on. I'm still looking at massive breakout of this range, a higher low to form, and some upside. That's still my expectation. But since we have cracked support there, I'm not really entertaining any buys. And for all I know, this could act as resistance, and we could see price sell off from that as well. So it's not high probability anymore. If we held support, yes, I think the buys could look good there. Didn't see that happen. We saw a bit of momentum, but nothing aggressive, especially taking into account what DXY was doing at the time. Nothing really spectacular. So now that we're back below significant resistance, that could very much act as resistance again and send us lower. So dollar CAD kind of backing away. If we do recover, sure, I think the buys after that could look good if we get back above, but we have to wait and see. So basically my focus now with dollar CAD is just pretty much what we do at this area. Do we respect it? Do we break through? And that will kind of dictate the next swing I'll be favoring for dollar CAD. As for Aussie dollar, interesting, very, very bullish move. Not looking too great, I must admit, on the daily chart. I've been looking for a lower high to form, and I said I don't want to see price break back within the channel. I would wait for the daily candle to kind of really confirm that. Of course, the day is still young, still got 11 hours and 40 minutes before it does close. Looks like it's poking its head back into the range, but nothing confirmed until really the end of the day there. But yeah, very bullish, more bullish than I was expecting. Of course, USD falling has played a big part in that. Yeah, I'm not too sure about Aussie dollar. I've been looking for a lower high, looking for price to kind of respect this area. I would argue we're kind of breaking through it right now, and we're looking quite bullish there. So unless I start to see some clear signs of us starting to stall and momentum shifting back down again, I'm not going to be looking to sell that. I'm going to be kind of backing off a little bit from Aussie dollar. And yeah, if momentum does continue, well, absolutely, I won't be looking to short that. At that point, it's kind of like another fake out, really. And we're back within the range, and maybe something like that happens in due course. So Aussie dollar, I'm kind of keeping a watchful eye on this one. I can still see the shorts potentially coming in. Maybe this is just a big retest for us to sell off, but we need to see some really aggressive rejection pretty much now. If momentum does continue, then yeah, maybe it was never going to sell off. Maybe this was just a big fake out outside the range as well. So at that point, I would be quite cautious. New Zealand dollar, same kind of situation as well. Although New Zealand dollar hasn't been one of my favorite pairs anyway to trade. I think overall it's kind of like a big consolidation. I've been talking a lot about this channel, but respectfully, kind of just box that off and just chalk that to a consolidation. I think that makes just as much sense as well. But we've been in this kind of slight uptrend with some slight high lows. We did break through that last week along with Aussie dollar. So since then, I've been looking for more downside. But again, today's candle was starting to break above. This could just be like a big retest, or it could be a big wick. We'll find out by the end of the day. But momentum is picking up with the buyers here. And similar to Aussie, if this momentum does just continue throughout the day, I think I will kind of hold back the short bias I have for New Zealand dollar. If again, we do find ourselves breaking back below, especially before the end of the day, then maybe the sales actually do look good, probably for tomorrow, Friday. But yeah, it's not my favorite pair because, again, like I said, it's kind of just ranging. There's not a lot of room to work with. Aussie looks far better, so I'd rather focus on that pair. They're very similar pairs anyway. But yeah, it looks like we are creeping back in. We'll see what we kind of get at the end of the day, if that can sustain or not. But looking at USD, we need to see kind of dollar gain some strength pretty quickly and start to show some strong signs of rejection. If not, maybe dollar weakness is here to stay. And gold's been a bit of a mixed bag. Looked a bit bullish, but I think didn't really sustain that momentum this morning, did it? No. So it was looking quite bullish this morning, but it has pulled back. A lot of friction in and around this area. We have seen some short-term selling opportunities, which is pretty much what I was hinting at coming into the week, but nothing crazy. I talked about potentially pushing to this area, came about halfway there and turned around. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of gold anyway. As I said, it is a ranging market, so the best places to get involved are going to be right at the highs and right at the lows. This is kind of the major resistance price has been respecting, and we've kind of got some significant support around this area here as well. So effectively, buying around here and selling up there is the best bet. I know it's kind of quite straightforward, sell high, buy low, but in a range, that's effectively what you want to be doing. Getting involved in the middle is always going to be a difficult opportunity. Not to say you can't find a successful trade there, but in my opinion, it's a lot harder to do that than try and short highs and buy lows, or kind of waiting for breakouts as well. That's an effective situation. So yeah, gold right now really corrective. It is throwing a lot of wicks here, so I can see we are struggling. Perhaps we still do roll over. I think if we can get some momentum to start to break lower, maybe if I can drop to the hourly chart, because we are quite corrective, almost like an ascending channel here. I think if price can potentially start to break through this, that could actually be a nice sell there for gold, and we might see price actually go and hit that level I was mentioning at the start of the week, which was this area here. I'm not looking for big moves here for gold because we're in the middle of the range. I'll keep it very, very short term. We may see a big swing all the way to the level. Maybe I wouldn't bank on that happening. Something like this is a bit more reasonable. So gold to me looks like it's really struggling at resistance here. Momentum's dying, especially with that 4 hour candle close and that big wick. So I do favor gold to kind of see some downside. But I think waiting for the breakout of that channel is a smart move, to be honest. That kind of confirms momentum's with the bears and probably likely to fall at that point. If not, if we do kind of just stay corrective, maybe we do see a swing back to the highs of the range again, which also is a smart place for a short as well. So it's kind of what I'll be keeping an eye on for gold. Not a fan favorite. I'm not looking to get involved with gold, to be honest. I do prefer silver a lot more, and that's kind of one of the USD, not USD, well, technically is USD pairs, but one of the kind of metals I've been looking at quite a lot, been looking to short this, but momentum's picked up very well as well. So I've been quite patient with silver. I've been looking for a lower high to form to short this, but no evidence of price shifting. Momentum, bullish momentum is still very much here. We're still kind of within the zone, so I'm still keeping an eye out for sells. If we do rally through this strongly, I think I probably would back away from the sells and kind of stand corrected, because I wasn't favoring silver to rally this week, especially after such a big bearish leg. We've actually seen quite a lot of momentum, surprisingly. So if silver does just continue to rally and push through, I think I'll back away from the shorts. At that point, there might be some nice intraday long opportunities, waiting for a quick pullback, and some buys, and then a push back to this high probably is your best bet at that point. If we can start to see some heavy rejection here, maybe a bit of consolidation, a strong break of that, and yeah, I'm all over the shorts, and I'll be looking for a push back into the swing low here. So I can still see the idea of shorts. I'm still basically looking for the continuation of this bearish leg. That was the plan this week. Big impulse to the downside, just about breaking structure to our left, looking for a lower high and a lower low. So that was the plan coming into the week. But because of how aggressive that retracement is being, it's not really looking like a retracement. And if that momentum continues a bit further, then yeah, intraday pullbacks and some more upside is probably your likely move there. So yeah, that's kind of really where I'm at with USD kind of related markets. It looks like the strength for USD isn't here yet, or may not even come. But we are coming back to an interesting area in the DXY. That's kind of my area which I'm looking to buy from. If it can develop well, great. I think there could be some really nice entries in this area to take it back up again. Simply just looking for the next higher low. And then maybe I can short euro, short pound. I think pound's the better pair, so I'll probably focus on pound. So yeah, that's kind of where my focus is now, but I need to see that evidence come in. If not, I'll back away. Anyway, what's up, Poppy? Glad to put an extremely tight stop loss shorting Euro yesterday. Okay, nice. Oh yeah, was it Euro Aussie or Euro NZD you were shorting? Did that end up break even? I think you said you trailed stops to break even, didn't you? Tashi, what's up? Good morning. Hope you're well. Cease Integrator, what is up? Hope you are doing good. Welcome to the stream. Poppy, not going to trade it, but what do you think of Euro Swiss? Okay, I'll go take a look at Euro Swiss. I've actually jumped into a trade on Aussie Swiss, so I'll go through that shortly, but we can take a look at Euro Swiss first. I'm quite bullish on the CHF pairs. I'm looking for CHF to start to lose some of its strength and start to become a little bit weaker. I'm looking at maybe Swiss yen having a bit of a drop as well. Euro CHF long term, I quite like the buys, mainly because of all the rejection we've seen at the lows here. Don't get me wrong, it's still a very bearish market. We've been falling for quite some time here. You could argue since the high of April 2018. So we've been on a very comfortable bearish trend. However, we're definitely starting to see some signs of momentum failing, support holding, and potentially getting ready for some upside. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4 attempts. You can maybe argue 5 there of trying to break through support here, and they've all failed quite miserably. So the way I see it, price is kind of just accumulating, getting ready for potentially something like this over the next few weeks. This is the weekly chart, so it's not like it will happen tomorrow. It could do, but I think over the next few weeks, we'll probably see eventually something like this, a push back to highs, maybe even that area there as well. So longer term, I'm pretty bullish in Euro CHF, and I kind of have the same bias with other CHF pairs as well. Aussie CHF, which I've just hopped into, kind of have the same bias as well. So longer term, I'm quite bullish. However, we've just seen a pretty big move over the past day or two, and we're smashing straight into resistance here. So I think from here, just as we've just been speaking about other resistance levels, actually a nice place for a short. Long term, I'm quite bullish bias. I'm not really interested in shorting Euro CHF. What I would be more interested in is kind of waiting to see if price can break out of this, then looking for some pullbacks afterwards. I think that could be a nice trade. In the meantime, if price rejects this well, I think that could be a nice place for a short, maybe back towards this area around 0.935, we can call it. So if you're looking for like a short-term trade, a day or two, I think shorts actually make sense here. Really strong resistance. Price has tried to break through this on numerous occasions. It's failed to every time, so there's a good chance we do fail again and see some more downside. So short term, I like the sales. Long term, I'm very bullish. And if I do see evidence of us breaking through this resistance, well, for me, that's the green light to start looking to buy. And we've got a lot of highs to target. So long term, very, very bullish in Euro CHF, and I'm kind of just waiting for a good buy opportunity. At the moment, lovely bullish move, but we're just banging our head straight into resistance now. So now is not quite the time to be looking to buy. Should we break through? Yes. If we do reject, I think for the time being, shorts look good. On the 4-hour chart, we left behind a pretty nice wick to the upside. So again, we're seeing that rejection. We might see price come back down. So I'd keep a close eye on that development for Euro Swiss. It really depends what we do at this level. That would dictate the kind of the bias for probably the remainder of the week. But if we can see some more rejection there, sure, I think sales look good. If price does rally, then I'm going to be looking for some buys there. I think there's a big move to be had for Euro Swiss. I also want to see if we can get a strong weekly candle close. This week's candle is looking pretty bullish. But of course, it's still Thursday. We still got tomorrow, the rest of today even, and then tomorrow. So a lot can happen that time. But a strong close on like that on the weekly kind of really just keeps showing us that support here is really holding well. I think longer term, a big swing could happen. So it depends what your time horizon is. Sam FX, Euro Yen, okay, we'll take a look. Varon, what is up? Gold, good for shorts. Okay, I can go through that quickly. Poppy, lost a very small amount, didn't really meet my criteria. It was a long short and I knew it. Oh, you're talking about your Euro trade yesterday? I'll be more picky. Yeah, I mean, being picky is a good thing in trading, 100%. Okay, so yeah, I did hop into an Aussie CHF trade, so I'm going to quickly go through that, and then I will go through Euro Yen and gold. So this is more of like a bigger swing trade. We did catch just about the breakout of that high, which was my trigger to enter the trade. It's a bit of a late entry. Ideally, I would have want to enter around here, but this is actually when I was actually abroad, so I wasn't paying attention to the markets at the time. So I was actually hoping to see if we could push back down into the low of the range, then catch a buy. So my entry could be around here. But I didn't mind entering the breakout as well because the risk reward still made sense to me. I've got a pretty long-term bias. I'm looking for us to get back to this area, which is where all this momentum came from back at the, well, it wasn't even the start of the year, it was April, yeah. So April, when we had that big sell-off, I'm looking for us to revisit that area. It's still like a 2.6 risk reward, so still decent enough for me to entertain the trade. But yeah, looking for a big swing here. Price has been consolidating. I've been trying to buy Aussie CHF on quite a few occasions. I think I've had three trades with Aussie CHF. No, 2 trades with Aussie CHF so far this year. Actually, 3 if you include the shorts there. But in terms of the buys, I've had 2 previous buys. Both have been break evens. I had a buy over here and then another buy. I think it was over here. Both did see some nice upside, but then came back down against me. Same over here as well. I've been keeping an eye on Aussie CHF because I'm still very bullish on this one. Long term, we're coming from all-time lows. I do think price has got a lot of room to the upside to recover. I like the way we've been consolidating because it's kind of showing to me that a bottom is potentially forming here. So I've been basically waiting for momentum to pick up before looking to get long. We've got the break of that counter trend line, which is a nice confluence for the position. And the fact we got a nice close this morning is looking pretty good. I did have a stop loss originally to be placed here, but I decided to give myself a bit more room and place it here. If things do start to go well, I will kind of trail the stop loss underneath some lows and reduce the risk as we go along. But it's a long-term swing trade. I'm not expecting this to be done overnight, but I like the situation. I like the position we're trading. I like momentum's picking up. So I'm quite bullish on a lot of these CHF pairs, and Aussie CHF is the one I'm having a stab at. So we'll see how that does progress. But it's been something I've been watching since this drop has happened, really only now. We're starting to really take shape. Of course, I did take some earlier entries, but I would say this is probably the better setup out of them all. So hopefully we can pick up some momentum and really push on. In terms of Euro Yen, so yeah, the yen pairs have been quite interesting. We've seen some strength the past, 24 hours. Again, Euro Yen still a pair which I'm really bullish on. I'm still looking for a lot more upside on Euro Yen. I'm still looking for us to revisit the highs here. We smashed through resistance over here, and since that's happened, I've been very bullish on the pair. And of course, the market's just been gliding to the upside. So the plan is we're looking for a pullback for more upside. I've been favoring some more downside initially because I kind of want to see a deeper retracement, but we have found support here pretty well. It looks like we're coming back into some resistant supply. So I think this is really critical here for Euro Yen, because if we do end up breaking above this, well, at that point, it looks like this is confirmed as a low. This is kind of like a big double bottom. That's the break of the neckline of the pattern. And at that point, you're probably favoring price to return back to highs and probably go and smash the upper target there as well. So a break of this kind of instigates the buys, really. So I would say keep an eye on maybe a retest of the high there for some entries, especially on the lower time frames, and then target 1 and then target 2. So yeah, Euro Yen long term still pretty bullish. I do favor this to continue to rally. We'll see what price does at this level, because equally we could still sell off and come back down and see a deeper retracement. That's still a possibility. But if the market does break above this, then that for me is kind of a strong sign to say that, okay, we've double bottomed here. We tried to break through. We haven't. We're starting to see some aggressive momentum coming to the market, which basically just means that this trend is likely to continue. And at that stage, that's your first target. That's your second target. Then maybe on the lower time frames, 30, maybe 50-minute chart, might find some nice pullbacks to hop into and catch the next swing. So yeah, Euro Yen, I do see the bigger move to the upside for this one. I was still favoring more downside, but I'm not too sure of momentum now, especially with this 4-hour candle, how it closed this morning. We saw a lot of selling pressure this morning for the yen pairs, but just before the 4-hour candle closed, they all kind of pulled back and left some big wicks, and Euro Yen did that exactly. So if we do see a strong break of that, yeah, I would be pretty bullish on this one, expecting us to go and tick off those highs there. I was kind of hoping for a deeper pullback since we had such a big swing. If I whip out the fib and like the last swing low to the high, I was kind of hoping more so for a push to this area. Maybe I was being a bit too greedy, But I think probably 0.382 maybe, not even that. So yeah, we kind of just hover around the 0.236. So it hasn't been the big retracement, but then again, it's been a very, very bullish market. So sometimes when we're this aggressive, we sometimes don't see that big of a pullback. So yeah, maybe we've already had the pullback and we're now going to see the continuation. A break of that resistance there would be the sign for that. So especially if you're intraday, keep an eye on that. Okay, let's head over to gold. Rafael Katsichev longs in the 15. Okay, we can take a look, no problemo. Hey, appreciate it, Poppy. Yeah, guys, if you're enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like. It does really help out, does really help the content out and promotes the content well. So if you can drop a like if you're enjoying the stream, does help out. Subscribe to the channel whilst you're at it, and hit the bell too so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future, and share it as well with other trading friends as well. That does really help the channel. But anyway, in terms of gold, so I haven't been the biggest fan of gold. I think the price action is just horrendous, really. So I haven't really been looking to trade gold for a while. I did say I'll look to pick up some longs at the low because I quite like the idea of just buying gold as low as possible within a range, especially when I know that the higher time frame trend is still bullish. So I like that idea. But unfortunately, we kind of just missed it over here, so I didn't get the entry. Since then, we've been pretty bullish. We've smacked into resistance here, which we're really struggling to break through. A lot of wicks to the upside. If I drop to the hourly, you can see we're kind of just in a very corrective ascending channel. So it looks like price is really struggling at this area, and perhaps we are forming a lower high to potentially sell off. That could be the case. I think a good judge, if that is the case, is maybe a break of this counter trend line. I think if price can clear that, that will be a strong sign to say that, okay, yeah, we are selling off and this is potentially going to be another lower high. If price does start to rally and we don't get the break of the counter trend line, maybe we're just going to push back to the higher resistance. We've been respecting this so well. Over there, over there, over there, and you could argue over there as well. So this has definitely been an area of interest for gold, 34.30. And if price does push there, I think that's a great place to short the market. But it is quite clear to see that we're really struggling at this area and perhaps we are getting ready to sell. So I would say if we can start to show momentum below that counter trend line, that's a green light to be shorting. This is the target I mentioned. Again, gold is very choppy, so it's not like I would say look for a big swing here. Maybe it does happen, but I wouldn't bank on it, especially in these conditions. If we were kind of trading in a trending condition and we're looking for a continuation of that, okay, I could see the logic there, but not in these conditions. Very, very choppy. So I would be careful with targets and pushing the trade too far. But something like this makes sense to me. So yeah, I'll say shorts look good. I'd wait for the counter trend line to break. Then that's the green light. I like the wicks to the upside. It really shows that the market's failing to push higher. I think the break of the counter trend line would be the final tick for a short. So hopefully that made sense. Katsichev longs on the 15. Okay, it's been a while since I looked at Cad Swiss on the 15, but we shall have a look-see. No problem, Sam. FX, happy to help. Cease integrated. Hey, saying happy. Hello to Poppy. Love it. Yeah, especially guys, you can chat within the chat as well. They don't always have to chat to me directly. The chat is there to build a community and talk with other people, meet other people as well. Jordan, what's up? Good morning. Hope you're well. Can you look at pound CAD? Of course, we can take a look at pound CAD as well. Rafael, check all CHF pairs for long at 1 hour time frame. So 50-minute CAD CHF and then every other CHF pair on the hourly chart. Got it, Rafael. Okay, we'll go through CAD Swiss first, then take a look at pound CAD, and then we'll go through some other CHF pairs. And of course, if you guys have any other pairs you want me to take a look at, let me know. I'll probably go through my watch list after these pairs as well. So what was I going to go through? CAD Swiss on the 15-minute time frame. So CAD CHF, another CHF pair, which I'm expecting a big recovery from pretty soon. I quite like the buys with this one, but I hopped into Aussie Swiss, so I'm not really looking to jump into another CHF pen, so I can kind of manage that one and remove some risk. But I do fancy some more upside. On the 50-minute chart, probably not as much though. I do feel like eventually we're going to pick up momentum, but buys in the 15, I'm not too sure about. To me, this looks like a big range here. And we kind of just tapped into the high of the range as well. So if anything, we might even see a bit of a sell-off to the low of the range. So if you're looking for buys in the 15, I probably would wait for us to start showing some evidence of clearing the highs here. But then again, you always have to be careful because we've got resistance right above our heads there too. So I'm not too sure about buys in the 15 really. I think the effective way to take a buy would be waiting for a push down into the low of the range. That way you can get a nice entry and tight stop loss, and then perhaps take advantage of the range and maybe of a breakout as well. That's probably the most effective way for a buy. I think looking for a breakout here, you're kind of running into trouble. You got supply on the left here to worry about as well. So there's a lot of kind of resistance and selling opportunities above heads there. But if you can push into support, it's been effective support for quite some time now. If you can see some healthy rejection there again, I think that's a smart place to buy, especially if maybe you can get a nice wick through the low and then a recovery. That could be a nice confluence for the trade as well. So that's the most effective place for a buy, I would argue, for CAD Swiss. It's a bullish market, which I do think, well, it's actually a bearish market, but it's a market which I do think is getting ready to turn bullish. Looks like we're kind of finding lows here, which are failing to break through, having a nice consolidation. I do think eventually we'll break to the upside. So I think buys is where the bigger move is at. But on the 50-minute chart, I wouldn't say we're quite ready to trade that just yet. And the conditions aren't looking that great for it. So yeah, a push to the lows makes sense. That's the only kind of buy opportunity I see on the lower time frames, really. And in terms of pound CAD, so pound CAD is actually a pair which I do think longer term can see a lot of downside. I think looking to sell it right now is not looking too great, but I'm looking at this on the higher time frames. I'm seeing a lot of rejection, particularly on the tri-weekly chart. We're coming back into major resistance, a lot of wicks at the highs there. That doesn't really scream to me that the market's still likely to continue higher. A lot of inability to continue the trend, so I do expect us to see a bit of retracement. But it's just when I hop to the lower time frames, I'm not really seeing good opportunities to short it. As of now, we're kind of just floating in some support, really, I would argue. So I wouldn't say this is the best place to be shorting. I would say we're quite corrective as well, which tends to mean more upside is on the cards. We're not seeing much selling pressure anymore. We're quite corrective now, trading at support. So I think pound CAD for the time being could actually provide some nice buys, maybe back to resistance. And then once we get here, then we can potentially start to talk about some shorts. We can get probably a nice stop loss above the highs. And maybe from there, we might be able to catch a nice swing. Maybe not even a big one, but maybe back to support at least. So pound CAD going forward, I think buys are the best bet for now. I like the wicks and the rejection we're seeing at the lows here. Looks to me that price again is having another consolidation. And if you can pick up some momentum, I would favor a push back to resistance, especially taking into consideration where we're trading. So I think buys make sense here for pound CAD. But longer term, I do favor the sell. So this is kind of an area which I'm looking for price to get to. Then maybe we can start to monitor some shorts and talk about some selling ideas. Even if we do break through that, I'll probably be looking at some areas around there for some sells as well. So long term, I'm pretty bearish bias. I think the uptrend is running out of steam and is likely to see some downside, but not yet, especially with how we're trading, especially with the rejection we're seeing. I do kind of favor some short-term buys. So depends what you're looking for. If you're looking for a really big swing, I think shorts are the best bet, but you want to wait for some corrections and development for that. If you're looking to trade now, maybe for the next couple of days, I think buys look good here. We're really struggling to push lower. I do think if momentum can pick up, maybe if you can clear resistance here, I think that'll be the green light for some buys. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with pound CAD. Okay, so I'll go through some CHF pairs for Raphael. Okay, still buying CNTH, still buying DXY. I'm still looking for bullish opportunities for the dollar as well. Just kind of waiting for a signal to get long. At the moment, not quite there yet for me in the 4-hour chart, but I'm keeping a close eye on that and looking to kind of sell euro, sell pound. Those are my two kind of favored USD pairs at the moment. ZAR, what is up? DAX was mind blowing today, made my week. Are you long the DAX? Because I had a look at the DAX before the stream. It was looking very, very bullish. So, yeah, you must be long the DAX. But we can take a look at the DAX as well. The indices are looking quite interesting, I must admit. What do I think about Aussie dollar? Okay, we'll add that to the list as well. Trump sneezes and we bleed. That's the Trump effect there. Okay, so let's go through some CHF pairs. So we went through Aussie CHF, went through CAD, we spoke about Euro. Pound CHF is another CHF pair I like for the buys as well. I'm quite bullish on a lot of these CHF pairs. I do think they're eventually getting ready for a push up. I'm not sure about how big of a push, but judging the selling pressure here, we did see quite a lot of momentum, but we have become quite corrective now, and we're seeing a lot of that on the 4-hour chart. You can see we're trying to continue, but it just keeps failing really, and the last sell kind of just formed a bit of a double bottom there. So I think if price can really start to see some momentum outside of this area, that could be a nice signal to say, okay, the buys are in play, and then you can either look to buy the breakout or wait for a pullback afterwards, maybe a retest, something like that. Depends how you want to trade it. I did say yesterday it would be nice to see another stab to the lows and then the buy, so you can get some entries around there and some stops below the lows. So that would be really nice, but at this point in time, I'm not too sure if that does happen. But I would say keep an eye, because we could still see another stab lower. But yeah, pound CHF, I do see us rallying. Again, on the lower time frames, I wouldn't say buys look great now, because we're still approaching resistance, and I wouldn't say it's an effective buy. Pound CHF, I do favor us to break higher, but I wouldn't bank on that with a buy now. Like I said, I would either look for the buy and the breakout, or look for the retest and try and catch the next higher low, or even look for another push back to the lows here. That's kind of the effective way I would say some buys make sense. If you take a look at Swiss yen as well, Swiss yen's a bit tricky because, of course, it does include the yen as well, which is at the moment a little bit on the weak side. We've had a reaction at this area. I wouldn't be betting on a massive move for Swiss yen. I know we probably are still due a pretty big correction because of how overextended the market has been and the fact that we're making all-time highs. But this pullback is quite miniature, and we've already had quite a big sell. So, and I don't like the fact that we're kind of respecting support here as well. I wouldn't be surprised if you can rally from that. So, yeah, that's not a good sign there for Swiss yen. So I wouldn't actually be looking to sell that unless price was to give you a nice close below that. I think that's a nice entry there. Or maybe you look to try and catch the high as well. So if price can push back to resistance, there might be some nice shorts there. That'll probably give you the better opportunity in terms of risk to reward. Some stops above the high entries in that area. Or you can wait for the breakout and then trying to catch some shorts back into the low. But yeah, I wouldn't be looking for anything too crazy. Of course, the market's still bullish on the higher time frames as well. And New Zealand CHF, I think this is getting ready again for some buys soon as well. I think, to me, this looks like it's starting to form a bit of a bottom. We keep trying to stab lower, but failing to do so. And we just about formed a higher low there as well. So I think, again, similar to Aussie CHF, if price can clear resistance here, I think that could end up being a very nice buy opportunity. And if you see a nice close above that, I think that could be a nice entry and a breakout. Or you can wait for price to really break out, pull back and retest, and find some buys on the high. That way you can probably get a better risk reward opportunity. And yeah, for New Zealand CHF, I think we can at least rally to retest this area. Broken support, turn resistance. This was a massive range we once had. Price, of course, broke through that. I would suggest we'll likely come back and at least retest it. Maybe even see a lot more upside as well. So yeah, I do think some buys are coming up for Aussie CHF. Again, on the hourly chart, I wouldn't say there's anything there. If anything, there might be some short-term sells off resistance. So again, I would wait for that breakout before looking to do anything. But yeah, I'm pretty bullish on the CHF pairs. I'm pretty bullish on them. I'm seeing a lot of evidence of us slowing down, forming lows on the daily chart. So I'm looking for them to rally off the back of that. Okay, so we'll go through the DAX next, and then we'll take a look at Aussie dollar as well. Yeah, that is true, Jordan. Good point there. We do have Bank of England coming up at 12, I believe. So in actually about an hour, just over an hour. And yeah, rates are expected to cut. So on paper, should be seeing a bit of a reaction, a bearish reaction for pound. I'm not trading any pound pairs at the moment, so I'm not too concerned. I'm keeping a close eye on pound USD. That is a pound pair I do want to trade and do want to short as well. So I'm keeping a close eye on that one. But for me, USD is the more important currency, really. Even if pound does become weak, I kind of want to still see evidence of strength in the dollar before I do start shorting that. Eric, yes, I am currently in a Aussie CHF long. I just hopped to that this morning. I can go through that again shortly. Just a few pairs I'll get through first. Ivan, pound news coming up in an hour. Yeah, if it comes less than expected, do you think it will make pound USD drop strongly or not strongly, or not so strongly, because I want to see a little bit more push to the upside and then sell. Last thing I want to is to miss the trade I've been watching for like 2 weeks. Yeah, that is a bit of a bummer. I mean, yeah, I mean, it will happen. It's not like you won't ever miss a trade in your trading career. It will happen from time to time. And especially if you swing trade as well, it's always the possibility of missing a trade, which you've been planning for a while. I've been in that boat many times. And the funny thing is, it's not a situation where you kind of missed the trade because you just weren't at the charts. It's probably just because you didn't get the entry you're looking for, or the breakout was bigger than expected, or whatever reason. You just didn't get the entry or the confirmation you're looking for, so you missed the move. So that's just a part of trading, because you get that no matter what time frame, no matter what type of style you're trading. But in terms of the pound news, well, if the rates drop more than expected, then of course that will give us a pretty weak a pound, at least on the reaction anyway. If it's higher than expected and the rates don't drop as much, or they don't drop at all, then that could be a very bullish sign for pound. It could be a bit neutral, but at the same time, I would expect to see a bullish reaction upon the news anyway. Longer term, yeah, anything can happen really. It's more so the reaction that you're kind of concerned with when the rates do come out. So yeah, so I would suggest, well, we'll see what the number is, but if it is lower than expected, it should give you even more weakness in the pound. But I'm looking for the same opportunity, I feel like, with you. So we're pretty much in the same boat. But again, I think don't get too caught up in the pound news. USD is still the kind of the governing currency. If pound is weak, nice. But at the same time, pound might give you a nice reaction on the news and be weak. But in the next coming days, we might, if dollar still is weak and doesn't gain any strength, I think even if pound is a bit weak, we'll probably still see a situation where pound USD does this. So it might react bearish on the news. And then because dollar doesn't gain strength, it might kind of just eventually do something like that. So I would be quite cautious. I still want to see evidence of the DXY kind of looking bullish before I do jump into shorts on pounds. I still want to see evidence of something like this happening. Of course, you can't guarantee anything, but I wouldn't want to be shorting pound whilst the DXY is still looking like this. So I would say keep an eye on that. But anyway, let's take a look at the DAX. So the DAX is looking interesting. Very, very bullish. Wow. Okay, I didn't see that big of a move. I think last time I looked at the DAX, we were like here. So yeah, that's a lot of momentum. So I can see why you're happy with the DAX if you were long. That's some very nice momentum there. So yeah, the DAX is just giving us a situation where we've broken through some critical support. Price looked like it was coming back to retest the level, but it's literally just caught everyone on the wrong side there. A lot of rejection. I can imagine a lot of people entertaining some shorts there. Why not? So significant level, strong breakout. But now we've got a very big candle showing us that, okay, this was just a load of rubbish. Just price basically putting another higher low like we did here. That's another one there. And at this point, I would favor the DAX just to rally back to highs. I did say be careful with the DAX, even though, yes, it was a lovely break to the downside. The DAX is still a very bullish market as a whole. So even with these type of breakouts, be careful, because it's not like an FX pair where, if we do break out like this, well, you probably do expect to see a bit of a bearish trend form. In a market condition like this, where everything is just up, 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 even strong bearish moves can be deceiving. So always being careful when you are looking to short kind of any of the major indices, especially when they're in such bullish conditions like this. And now that price is completely broken above that, a really nice setup would be if price can pull back and retest that area. I think that would be the best setup possible, coming back into an area of support, get some stops below the low. Essentially, this just looks like a big fake out to me to put in the next higher low. So after that, I would favor a swing back to highs. So that would be the best kind of scenario for the DAX. Not too sure if we will pull back that much. We just look so strong right now. We are approaching resistance areas of supply, so I do expect to see some type of bearish reaction. It's just, will it be big enough for a retracement there? Maybe. If it is, great. If not, it's not really, there's not much we can do at the end of the day. But yeah, the DAX to me looks bullish. I think at this point in time, we're likely to run back to highs and see new highs now. It would be nice for a retest of this level, but I'm not too sure if we will get that. But yeah, DAX looking super, super bullish right now. It looks like that's just the higher low for us to rally. Let's take a look at Aussie dollar next. So Aussie dollar, not a big fan of. We've been looking a little bit too bullish for me. I'm still looking to short it. Again, I said all I want to see is price not break back within the channel here. We've been super, super corrective. And the plan basically for Aussie dollar has been breakout, pullback, continuation. Yeah, that's really the plan there for Aussie dollar. And we've seen the breakout. This to me looks like a pullback. Now I'm looking for the continuation. If price does continue to rally and close back within the range there, then I'll back away. At that point, I'm not interested in Aussie dollar shorts anymore, because this to me just looks like a big fake out. We're back at square one. But if we can start to find resistance here, we've got a nice area of supply to our left there. If I can start to see price find resistance, give us a nice shift of momentum, that could end up being a very nice trade. And that's kind of what I'm banking on. Something like this, stops above that area, and hopefully a nice continuation back to some areas around here as well. So that's really the trade I'm eyeing up. Of course, I'm going to keep a close eye on the DXY as well, because I'm basically looking at the same thing in the opposite direction. So looking for some entries there for something like that. So if the DXY can give me another higher low, another rally, I probably will give Aussie dollar another sell. And yeah, they're probably will happen at both at the same time. So yeah, DXY pretty bearish on. Not DXY, sorry. DXY pretty bullish on. Aussie dollar pretty bearish on. Just waiting for an entry signal really. But I don't want to see price break above this. If it does, I struggle to see a lower high for me. So yeah, around what, 0.65250. That's really the focus, and then hopefully some shorts back into roughly around there, 0.635. So hopefully that made sense there for Aussie dollar. Where was I? Eric, what about dollar CHF? Okay, we can discuss dollar CHF. Peter, dollar yen 15, no problem. We take a look at that as well. No problem, Ivan. Happy to help. What's up, Mohammed? Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing good. UD, made 3 on that move, just closed out. Nice. Is that on the DAX? Okay, cool. Yeah, beautiful move. And that's one of the good things in that, not placing a take profit. Because you don't know what the market's going to do. It could actually explode in your favor. And there's been a few times where I've been in a trade, I've not looked at it for a few hours, maybe some news has happened or whatever, and it's been a big move in my favor. It's actually gone past where I would have had my targets, so I've actually closed that more than I expected for the trade. Of course, the same thing happens on the other side of the coin. There'll be times where news happens and it goes against you. You might be like 10 pips away from your target, and now you're kind of almost at break even. So those do happen as well. Yeah, sometimes you can get those surprise moves which give you a bit more than expected. And the DAX, very, very big reaction, I must admit. Mohammed, look at pound USD euro on the 4 and the 15. Okay, we can have a look as well. Yep, Euro USD, we can take a look as well. Okay, first I'll go through dollar CHF and USD JPY on the 15. So dollar CHF, I haven't actually looked at dollar CHF yet. Not USD pair, which I'm looking to get involved just yet. I think pound USD and euro looks a little bit better. So that's kind of where my focus is with the USD pairs and Aussie dollar as well. That can start to show some rejection. But it's another USD pair, which again, I'm looking for more upsides. I'm pretty bullish on the CHF pair, so I'm looking for weakness in the Swiss currency. That should help us out here as well. I did say I like the buys around here, which were kind of nowhere near. So it would be nice to see price get there. But in fairness, we are respecting this area pretty well. So I would suggest keep an eye out. I want to see some evidence of momentum coming back in. We're looking quite corrective here. Maybe if we can see some strength coming in, that could actually be a nice entry signal to back some buys. If we just fall, well, then we'll look for the same situation here. And then that could end up being a nice buy. The only thing I don't like about dollar CHF is that we haven't really broken through any significant structure. This was our last lower high, swing high in the market, which gave us this bearish leg. Yes, we've kind of built up some market structure here, but I would like it to be a situation where we're creating bullish structure, but at the same time, we're breaking bearish structure as well. Something like that gives you a little bit more probability that the trend's likely to continue. And that's kind of the situation we've got with some other USD pairs. Euro's done that to an extent, pound's done that to an extent, Aussie dollar has done that as well. So that's kind of why this is one of my lesser favorite USD pairs. But again, let's not beat around the bush. All the USD pairs tend to do the same thing. If Euro's going to fall, pound's going to fall, Aussie's going to fall, well, nine times out of 10, dollar CHF's going to react the same way and see some upside. So I would suggest keep an eye on this kind of corrective period here. This could be a sign that price is starting to find a bit of a bottom and possibly is getting ready to rally. So, and of course, we're trading at some significant areas. So I can see some buys from here. If not, there's this zone a little bit further down, which makes sense as well for a buy. I quite like the bullish leg here for dollar CHF. It's quite aggressive. Momentum looks good. So essentially just looking for the pullback of that for some more upside. But the entry is the most important thing to invite us into the trade. So yeah, I'll keep a close eye on that for dollar CHF. Those are two areas I'll keep an eye on. And if things go well, push back to highs and maybe this area here too. But of course, I think it all does come back to the DXY. If the DXY can start to show some signs of bullish momentum coming in, some higher lows, well, then I think dollar CHF will look good and other corresponding USD pairs as well. So pretty much all eyes on the dollar, to be honest. Dollar yen on the 15. Last time I looked at this one was looking slightly bearish. Oh no. So it was looking slightly bearish, but then we pulled back and left that wick. So on the 15, I would say we're quite corrective. It looks to me that price is getting ready to form a bit of a bottom here. We've had, of course, a lovely sell-off last week, but since then, we've just become quite corrective here. So the way I see it, we're kind of just getting ready for something like that. As an awful arrow, but I'm sure you guys get the point. So yeah, the way I see it, we'll kind of get ready to turn around. Of course, if I flick to the 4-hour chart very quickly, you can see some wicks forming there as well. I was favoring for us to come a little bit lower before seeing some buys. It's kind of like a nice area of demand here, retesting support. Maybe we still do that. Maybe we kind of correct a little bit longer before buying and tap into this area a little bit better. But from a 15-minute perspective, it depends what you're looking for. If you're looking for a big swing or you're looking just for like a short-term trade, I would suggest if you can push back to resistance up here, you probably be able to find yourself a nice reaction, a nice short there. That could last maybe an afternoon, maybe even the good part of a day, but that's about it. I wouldn't look for any big move, at least to the downside. I think the bigger move here for dollar yen is going to be a recovery and a push higher. So that's kind of where the biggest swing is, but trying to trade that can be difficult, especially in the 15. Especially in the 15 could be quite difficult. I would suggest maybe waiting for a breakout and looking for some pullbacks afterwards would be the easier trade to find some buys. But this is proven to be a solid level of resistance. Price has been respected on numerous occasions. We're still quite bearish here. We are still putting lower highs in despite the fact that we're running out of steam. So I think for the meantime, sales make sense, especially in the lower time frames, especially if you can get a push back into resistance. And like I said, maybe for like a session or the best part of a day, you might see a nice reaction there and then walk away onto the next position. So long term, I do favor a bit of a bounce here for dollar yen. I think we can make our way back to resistance there around 149. That's kind of what I'm looking for dollar yen to do. But if you're talking about the 15, I would say trade what's in front of you. Market's still just about bearish, so shorting off major resistance makes sense until we see evidence of a breakout. Then maybe we can talk about some pullbacks and some opportunities on the way back to resistance again. That's probably a trade maybe for next week. But I'll keep an eye around 147, 750 for some selling opportunities. Okay, so next I will go through is pound USD and euro for our 15. So I go pound and euro. We'll just do like an overview of both of those markets. Raphael, US oil longs on the hourly chart. Okay, we can add that to the list as well. No problem. Fianca, hope I'm saying that correctly. Euro Aussie. Okay, we can take a look at that as well. No problem. So pound USD is probably my favorite USD pair right now in terms of the setup, how everything's looking at the moment. I know we've got some USD news coming out, not USD news, sorry. I know we've got some pound news coming out shortly, so have to put a little asterisk there. Keep an eye on that. But in terms of just looking at the pure technicals of everything, I quite like what I'm seeing. If I expand to the daily chart, I think we've got a very textbook market structure here. We've gone from making higher highs and higher lows to now making lower lows and lower highs. So the plan is simply, can we find the next one for the next drop? Nothing more complicated than that. We've broken through some support here. Naturally, we'll be turning resistance. Can we potentially put another lower high in this area? And can we potentially sell off back to lows? I think we can. This will rely on USD being strong. So that's why I've always kind of talked about the DXY, because we do need that strength of the dollar. Even if we do see some a bearish reaction on the pound news this afternoon, I don't think that will be enough to get us back to lows. I think that might give us a nice initial reaction potentially. It could be wrong, of course, but I think USD being strong is what's going to really give us a trend here. The bearish news for pound might give us a reaction, but in terms of a big swing, which is what I'm looking for, I think I'm going to really rely on USD shifting. So keep an eye on this area, around 1.34, nice psychological level. At the moment, I quite like what I'm seeing. Very bearish move on the way down. This to me looks quite corrective, so I'm getting signs of a retracement here forming. And if I can start to see price start to maybe consolidate, build up momentum, shift, give me a strong signal to say that, okay, bears are stepping in. I'm looking for a trade similar to this, at least a push into the low. Then maybe if I can get a breakout a lot lower as well. I would say the next significant area probably would say is maybe this consolidation here. Around 1.3. Oh yeah, I would say 1.3. Next big psychological level as well. Kind of lines up well. So yeah, that'd probably be my like extended target. But of course, at least a push back to the low would be what I'd be banking on initially. So yeah, pound USD, just looking for another lower high to form. I would say right now, dropping to the lower time frames, we're not quite there yet. I like how slow we are. It's not like we're seeing aggressive bullish momentum or quite corrective, which does entail that most likely this is a pullback for us to keep selling. So kind of looking for us to build momentum here and start to show some bearish engulfing candles, wicks to the upside. I'll more of that before I do jump into a trade. But yeah, we're slowing down, starting to find resistance. It's too early to say if we're going to respect it or break through. Either could happen, but we're trading at a key area of confluence. Now it's just up to the market to give us that reaction to find some entries in and get into some shorts. So yeah, pound USD, just keeping an eye, looking for the next swing high, hopefully push back to 1.315 and hopefully 1.3 later on. In terms of Euro USD, again, pretty much the same idea. Euro and pound, very, very similar markets as well. Euro for me hasn't quite tagged that consolidation. That's kind of where I was banking on Euro coming this week. The market isn't perfect, so sometimes it will do this and just miss it by a few pips, and sometimes it will still go and test it as well. Again, I'm going to keep a close eye on Euro because I think we're at a very nice place. We've been putting in lower highs, one over there, second over there. I believe we've got a good chance of putting a third in. Again, as I said earlier, even if I can get a push just to this level, I think that would be a decent trade. Maybe we do get pushed back to lows and maybe we do go further, but at least a push there, I think we can probably walk away with some decent profit. If it goes further, great. But yeah, Euro USD, I'm looking for shorting opportunities. I kind of want to see price kind of become a bit more corrective. We've been really aggressive to the upside, so I'm not going to be jumping into trades very quickly here. It's not like it's been a slow corrective retracement. It's been very aggressive. Initially, a very strong impulse off the back of NFP, sideways behavior, and then a pretty strong move to the upside again. I'd admit that we are starting to slow down, which is a good sign. We're seeing some momentum here in this current bearish candle, which has still got 2 hours and 45 minutes before it does close. So a lot can happen in that time. But yeah, we are seeing some evidence of us slowing down, which is a good sign, especially approaching such a strong area of supply to our left. So yeah, I want us to become a bit more corrective, slow down a little bit, maybe consolidate even. And now I'm looking for a strong reaction to invite me into the trade. That would be an entry, targets there, and then maybe targets there secondary if we start to break through. So yeah, that's the plan for Euro. Pretty much the same thing as for pound. Yes, we're starting to see some momentum now, but not enough to invite me into a trade. I like what I'm seeing. We're starting to slow down, but not quite there yet in terms of an entry. And I would kind of like us to spike a little bit higher into that zone. That might be me being a bit picky there, but it would be nice to actually test that area. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with Euro. A really strong reaction, really big pullback. Not trying to jump the gun here. Looking for DXY to pretty much do the same thing as well. And then hopefully, yeah, I can take some buys. Potentially, well, not some buys on DXY, but potentially some sells on Euro or some sells on pound, maybe even later today. But I've got a feeling probably it won't set up till tomorrow, at least on the 4-hour chart anyway. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. But I will be keeping a close eye though. Okay, so okay, I'll look at the 15. I forgot about the 15. I'll look at the 15-minute chart, then I'll take a look at oil longs for Raphael and some Euro Aussie for Fianca as well. In terms of the 15-minute chart, well, the 15-minute chart is quite bullish, so I wouldn't necessarily be banking on sells just yet. Lovely kind of retracement here. Gave us a lovely continuation. That was overnight. Now approaching the same area again here. I think if price starts to respect this area, it can end up being actually a nice place for a buy actually. Maybe another swing back to highs there. So from a 15-minute perspective, I would be focusing on buys really. We still do have a very comfortable bullish trend here. Momentum still with the buys. Looks like a healthy retracement for the most part, coming back into a nice area of demand. If price can start to find support here and pick up some momentum, I think it's a solid buy. And obvious targets back to the swing high. I think that makes sense there for Euro. So Euro would be pretty bullish on the 15. Pound USD maybe not as much because it's a bit slower of a market. We are trading at resistance, but still coming back into an area like this still kind of makes sense for some buys. But again, I would be quite careful, not looking for any big moves. I think if you can get pushed back to the high, that would be great. Call it a day there. But still respecting bullish structure, still giving me higher highs and higher lows. So I wouldn't be looking to sell the market in the 15 until I see an established trend. Very bullish. Momentum still looks good. Yes, we're kind of testing resistance, so we're not looking for a crazy move to the upside. Kind of being a bit more conservative. But yeah, if we can pull back into this area, things look quite corrective already. I think that's a decent buy in the 15 and the push back to the high. I think that's a decent intraday trade. Of course, we've got the news coming out first, so you probably don't get a trade until then anyway. But yeah, from a 15-minute perspective, I would actually be pretty bullish on both euro and pound, just looking for some short-term trades, following that trend until that does start to kind of turn around and die out. But on the 15, buys make the most sense. Okay, so we'll go take a look at oil. Haven't looked at oil since yesterday. Okay, so oil had a bit of a sell-off there. Still just about respecting support, which is pivotal. Because if it does break through this, then I'm going to have to put to bed my bullish bias here for oil. Very significant support here, which essentially, if price can hold, I remain bullish. If price breaks, I will convert to being a bear and look for a push into this level here. But it's been a very pivotal level for oil. Kind of held us in this kind of sideways market with these lower highs. And we've been squeezing in this area since. We did break to the downside, but then we recovered. We broke back above. So I've been looking for price to use that as support again to rally again. But looks like we're really struggling to do that. And if oil does break to the downside here, well, we're back at square one. And this is where I'll be expecting price to get to next. So oil's at a very pivotal area. We need to hold on to this if we are going to rally. So I like the buys given the scenario. I like the buys given where we're trading as well. I like the wicks we're seeing to the downside too. That's a good sign as well. So yeah, if price can keep that up, maybe give us some more wicks, I think that is a smart place for a buy. In terms of risk to reward, it's a great place. Entries around here, stops around there. Even a push just back to the high end of the range here, you're looking at a pretty decent trade, maybe like a 1 to 3, maybe a 1 to 4 even. So it's a great return on just that. Let alone potentially the fact that we could really rally and see a lot of upside back into those areas. And that could be a ginormous trade, but again, you're probably not looking to hold the trade that long. But you could probably hold some positions to rally just in case you do see that move, especially with an entry as good as this. So yeah, oil to me is just a market that's sideways, but respecting very significant support in higher time frames. If we can maintain that, then I think we're due for another bounce. I like what I'm seeing so far. A lot of wicks to the downside, so that's a good sign to show us that, okay, we are holding support here, at least for now anyway. I think if maybe some momentum creep in or maybe some more wicks, that would be enough for a trade really. And some stops below the low. And yeah, we can get some buys. And if it doesn't work out, if price does break to the downside against us, not the worst situation in the world. As long as you manage our risk, you're always going to have the possibility to lose a trade, so you want to be prepared for that. If it does happen, from a technical standpoint, I'd be looking at something like this, more shorts, and still looking at a pretty big swing back to the lows. Of course, maybe not looking for that in one go. There's some support here you might want to consider, but that's kind of where I see price going long term, because if we do get a strong break of that weekly level, I don't see much stopping us and turning us around. So yeah, going forward, oil, testing key level. Let's see if we can really respect this well. And that could be the basis of some nice entries. If it does break, we'll switch the bias around. And I think there can be a lot more downsides with oil longer term. So yeah, for now, buys, maybe not hourly chart. Maybe if you can get a nice close above here. Because to me, we still look a little bit choppy. I mean, I like the wicks, yes, but I'd say we'll still look a little bit choppy. Maybe a nice close above that could be a nice entry. Then some stop losses around the low here, or even the low there, probably can get away with. But yeah, hourly chart, I'll probably wait for a closure above the high, some momentum above that. And then we can start to look to target these areas and these areas as we go on. In terms of Euro Aussie, so Euro Aussie, I'm expecting a lot more downside for this pair longer term. I'm looking for a push. If I go to the daily chart, I'm looking for a push all the way back down to this area eventually. So that's very much the plan I have for Euro Aussie, but I've just been kind of stuck with finding some good selling opportunities. I think as of now, it looks like price is just respecting resistance. So I think this is still actually a nice pace for a short, but I wouldn't be looking for that move just straight away. I'll probably just keep it simple and look for a push into support here, because effectively all we're doing is ranging equal highs, equal lows. So if you're shorting up here, the only thing you can be fairly confident with is if we can respect this as a push back down to here. For all I know, we could very much rally to the upside again. So that's not a bad idea, bad trade there. You can still get a decent trade there back to the low. I think the bigger move will happen, or the big opportunity will happen if we can actually end up breaking through this, then look for some pullbacks afterwards. Because at that point, we'll probably have some established bearish structure. You've got the high there, creates that low, a big consolidation, then eventually we break out again. That shows that, okay, the bearish structure is continuing. This bullish structure is well and truly in the rear view mirror. And now we can see price see that swing, hopefully. So I think this breakout kind of opportunity, break and retest opportunity, could be a really nice one to look into if it does happen, of course. At the moment, it's just the market respecting highs and lows. So I would suggest another swing back to support, and then we'll go from there. Maybe we respect it well. Maybe I start talking about some buys back up again. You know, we did do that pretty well here. Nice close. The price did rally up there again. So I'll be careful as we approach that level. But for now, a market that's consolidating, I do fancy another swing to the downside. And long term, I'm pretty bearish as well. So I do think we're due to fall. So yeah, hopefully that made sense. So in terms of my watch list, because I haven't actually done that yet. In terms of my watch list, well, since I am in Aussie CHF, so that's going to take the CHF box out the way. So I'm not looking to jump into any CHF pairs just yet. So this is the long-term position I'm looking at. Essentially took it on the breakout. With that 4-hour candle closing above the high, we got a nice, lovely counter trend line break recently, breaking through the highs there. I like this position because of how we kind of consolidated and kind of slowly formed a bit of a bottom here. Almost like a bowl shape, but not quite. And now it's starting to pick up some momentum above the highs there. So I hopped into a trade there. Stops underneath the low there. A little bit big. I could have probably got a better entry, but I was actually abroad at the time. That could have got a better entry down here. So I wasn't actually looking at the charts then. So it's a bit of a later entry. But I don't mind it. The risk reward was still 2.66, so still decent enough. Anything above really a 1 to 2, I'm favoring that. If I can double my risk on a trade, that's a great trade for me. And I still like the idea of price getting back to this level. Really nice consolidation, huge drop to the downside, and price hasn't come back to revisit that. So I think it's only a matter of time before we do eventually do that, especially with the fact that we're coming from all-time lows as well. So naturally, I think more upside is likely. We've been very corrective on the way down, so it's not like we've seen a lot of momentum here. It's been very, very corrective, which shows that the bears are running out of steam. They're not quite there as they were previously, and this is probably most likely to form a higher low for us to continue higher. So based on the characteristics of how price has been moving, based on the fact of us forming this low here, based on the fact of us breaking the trend line and starting to break resistance as well, that's showing me that the buyers starting to pick up momentum and we're probably likely to continue higher. And we've got some zones which we're likely to come and retest anyway. So that's kind of the reasons why I've hopped into a trade there, and hopefully momentum can pick up. And then yeah, I'll start to trail my stop loss as well. If we can start to pick up some momentum, I'll start to trade it underneath the lows and so on and so forth there. But that's the only position I'm in at the moment. But because I'm in Aussie CHF, I'm not really looking to get into another CHF pair until I can remove risk here. So that's kind of tick the CHF kind of pairs for me until I can remove risk again. Then I can potentially get into another one. At the moment now, the most pair, not the most pair, the pair that most likely will give me an entry, probably the soonest I'll probably say is pound USD, because we're quite corrective. So that's ticked that box. Lovely bearish leg, that's ticked that box, and we pull back into a very nice level of resistance, support once, twice, and a third time. Now I'm just waiting for a good entry, which could end up happening later today. So I'd say the pair that I'm kind of focused on the most right now would be pound USD shorts, and maybe Aussie dollar shorts as well. One of the two. Again, I'm not looking to get in all the USD pairs. The same situation with the CHF pairs. Once I do get into one USD pair, that kind of locks it off until I can get that same USD pair to break even. That's kind of a rule I have. I kind of group the pairs I look at into section, into pairs. And I group the USD pairs into a section. I group the JPY pairs into a section, the yen pairs into a section, CAD pairs as well. So once I do get a trade in one of those kind of sections, I don't look to revisit that until I can get that current trade to break even, or I'm stopped out, of course. Then I can potentially enter a new trade in that section. And that just allows me not to run into any issues where I'm like, okay, I'm long on 3 yen pairs, which is pretty much just taking the same trade 3 times. So I don't really run into too much trouble in terms of correlation, in terms of, you know, if one trade goes wrong, they all go wrong. I'm kind of spreading the risk around a little bit. And if it's break even, I don't really care if they go wrong, because worst case scenario, I'll take a break even on one trade and lose the other. So it just comes back down to one loss. So yeah, I'll pick the better one out them all. So far, it's probably be pound USD, but who knows? Maybe the setup does improve with Aussie dollar, and that looks a little bit better. I'm gonna keep a close eye. Again, it's pretty much the same idea, the same trade here. So yeah, just waiting for the better one to form. The key thing I'm keeping a close eye on is the DXY, as I keep saying, but it is quite important. So yeah, if Momentum can pick up here, that'll probably be my kind of catalyst to start actually looking for entries on the other USD pairs. As of right now, it's a little bit too early, but yeah, I'm still very much a bull here for USD. So I'll be keeping a close eye. Same with you. Yeah, I think it's the effective way, especially when you're in a situation where you do trade a lot of markets, like myself. I suppose you probably trade quite a few markets as well. Yeah, if you do trade quite a few markets, you do want to kind of be organized with that, because you could find yourself in a situation where you're trading a lot of the same markets, especially because once you do trade FX for a while, or just any markets for a while, you kind of realize that a lot of setups happen at similar times. Like the USD pairs, they will set up and probably all fall in a similar kind of time. You know, they're probably not exactly the same time, but within like 24 hours, 48 hours, they'll all probably give you the exact same trade. So you get a situation where you might not get many trades for a while, and then in the space of like 1 or 2 days, you get like 5 signals for the same group of pairs, because they're all about to do the same thing. So you don't want to be in a situation where you can take all those five trades, and you're in a situation where it's either they're all going to work out, which is great, or they're all going to fail, which is not great. So yeah, you kind of want to spread risk around and keep an eye on correlation. So yeah, once I do get in a USD pair, cross it off, wait for me to at least manage that risk, or of course get stopped out, then I would have permission to get into another pair. But yeah, if I'm in a USD pair, I'm in a Swiss pair, I'm in a yen pair, I'm in a CAD pair, even like a commodity or an indice, I don't really mind, because again, there is going to be some type of correlation between all of them. It's hard to kind of get in a situation where you have no correlation between any market. I don't think that really exists, to be honest. There's always going to be some type of correlation, but at least not a very strong one, at least like 2 yen pairs or 2 USD pairs. OGPAC UJ, okay, we'll take a look as well. UD, okay, trade it all, nice. Whenever I see setup, so I had to group them and take trades from different sections. Nice, nice. Yeah, pretty much the same as me as well. Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it, because that way you stay organized as well, and that way you can kind of treat everything as a group rather than just individual currency pairs, because FX is kind of like an overlap of a lot of different things. And it's good to kind of group the yen pairs together, because you kind of look at them as a whole. What are the yen pairs doing? Not specifically CAD yen, but what are the yen pairs doing together? Then you can kind of get like a feel of what yen is doing, and you can then choose which currency pair is the best one to trade. So I think that's an effective way to kind of look at the market, group them all together, and then look at the market in that light, because if you kind of just flick through randomly, you'd be all over the place, especially if you do trade a lot of markets. If you trade like 3 or 4, then of course it doesn't matter, but if you trade, I would say anything like over 10, you need to be a bit more organized. So we'll take a look at dollar yen. So dollar yen, not my favorite yen pair at the moment. It's an interesting one because I'm looking at possibly some USD strength coming to the market. Hasn't really happened yet, but I've also been looking for some yen strength, so potentially 2 strong currencies. But at the moment, yen is quite weak, USD is quite weak as well, so it's kind of like the battle of who's the weaker one right now. At the moment, let me just get rid of my analysis on the lower time frames. At the moment, this is kind of what I'm favoring from this area. At the start of the week, I was kind of hoping for a pullback into the high here and then some shorts. I quite like the price action here. It was a very impulsive run to the upside, followed by a very impulsive push back down. So this kind of looks like a bit of like a manipulation of the high. And I would suggest if price can get back to retest that level, I think that's a sensible place for a short and a place where we can see some downside from. If I zoom out, there is a slight uptrend at play here on the 4-hour chart. So that's kind of why I do like the buys here, because there's a slight uptrend. I feel like we could probably still see another swing to the upside, especially coming back into a swing low like this one. I do think we can see a reaction. Long term with dollar yen, I'm not convinced about the buys, especially with the fact we're forming these lower highs here, kind of looking at us potentially forming another one at some point in time and seeing some downside. So long term, I do feel like this uptrend is just going to end up being a big pullback, big correction before we do continue lower, but that might not be for a few weeks. We've got some resistance here to our left. I feel like those line up pretty nicely around this area. So I'm bullish for now. Long term, I kind of am pretty bearish, but yeah, we can discuss that when the time is right, because it's not really concerning us right now. At the moment, we've got a lightly trending bullish structure. And when things are lightly trending, I'm always looking for deep pullbacks. I don't want to be taking aggressive buys, because the market's lightly trending. Doesn't really make sense to take aggressive buys. So if we can push back into this area, I think that would be a smart place for a buy, effectively trying to get a stop loss underneath this low. That's what I think the best place would be. I still think this is a nice place for a short. I would keep it short and sweet though. I wouldn't be looking for a huge sell-off. I think that would be a nice place to at least get a reaction, maybe a push back into a similar area, then call it a day. So yeah, those are the kind of the 2 areas I'm looking at, 146 and 149. I still think we can see higher prices, so that's why this sell, I'm not necessarily banking on such a big move. But this buy here, I do think might take us a bit further longer term. So if you're looking for a swing trade, this is kind of where I would try and position myself, 146 and stops below the low. But yeah, dollar yen, just a lightly uptrending market. I think buys look good here. We're not quite there yet, so I would like to see if price can stab again, maybe leave another wick to the downside. That would be nice. And then try and take some buys off the back of that. I think that would make sense. But for the most part, it's still very, very corrective. So yeah, that's kind of what I see for dollar yen. Not my favorite yen pair at the moment. I'm kind of keeping an eye on pound yen. I don't want to short pound yen and pound USD. I think pound USD looks a little bit better. So, I mean, I was keeping a close eye on pound yen this morning. It almost gave me a signal, but then it did pull back in the last kind of 30 minutes of that candle. A lot of the yen pairs the last 4-hour candle was looking really bearish, but then they all kind of pulled back just before they closed. Left some big wicks here. I did say coming into the week, this is an area which does interest me, and it does interest me for pound yen. We've had a very light corrective uptrend here. Price then had a kind of a huge consolidation. We tried to rally, that failed, and price fell over pretty aggressively and has left behind some price support, which we turn resistance. So simply for pound yen, I'm looking for a pullback, a lower high, and then a continuation of that move. That's really the plan there, nothing crazy. So I am looking for opportunities to sell pound yen, but then because I'm also looking for opportunities to sell pound USD, I decided I'm just going to focus on one of those two currency pairs. I think pound USD is the better one, slightly deeper pullback. I think this can offer a bit more downside. And I quite like the idea of buying the dollar as well. So I'm going to focus more so on pound USD. But again, pound USD, pound yen, fairly similar. They can be kind of out of sync sometimes because of yen and USD. But again, I don't want to be shorting them both. And pound USD looks like the better trade anyway. So I'd rather just choose the quality rather than go down the route of quantity. But I do believe pound yen's a decent opportunity as well. If I wasn't looking to short pound USD, I'll be keeping a close eye on pound yen. Again, all I want to see is some evidence of some momentum coming in for the bears, and that would be enough to enter a trade for me. And of course, first initial target back to the low there. And if we can break through that, that can open up the door for a big sell, because pound yen is positioned well for a really big sell if the market wants to. You've got some resistance here to our left, which essentially price is rejecting. And you've got support here, which we have been rejecting. So it's a situation where, if we do respect this really well, we could end up back at these lows potentially. And that's a huge swing there for pound yen. So, and it is essentially just a ranging market, and we're just rejecting the highs right now. So I can see a pretty big swing there potentially for pound yen. There is that potential move, likely. Actually, I wouldn't say it's likely, but I would say that's a potential move. I could also see price giving us a potential move back to resistance. It really depends what price does at this area longer term. Do we respect it as resistance? Well, in that case, we can go for a pretty big sell. If we do clear that, well, then I'm going to be looking for a push back to 206 up at the highs there. So that's kind of how I'm looking at things for pound yen long term, but at least for now anyway, that's where the attention lies. I'll retest that resistance and potentially some sells off the back of that. Morning Malik, welcome to the stream, hope you're well. Any markets you've been looking at recently? I'll be keeping a close eye on the CHF pairs. Hopped into an Aussie CHF long this morning. Hey, what's up, Holy One? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. What is up? What is up? Yeah, so I've been in a Aussie CHF long, but I was going to keep an eye on quite a few of the CHF pairs. I still think pound CHF's got a nice move in it as well. Ooh, that is not the right spelling. I still think this one's got a nice move in it too. Still kind of correctively in this channel, if you will, but I think if we can start breaking out of that, that's where the buyers will come into play, either on the breakout or like a retest. Yes, we can take a look at BTC. Oh, okay. Very strong candle. Does close in an hour and 17 minutes. But for the most part, looking pretty strong. And again, with BTC, the funny thing is we've been super corrective on the way down. So I haven't been convinced for one bit that this is going to be a massive reversal. And I say that because if you look at how price has been moving, this just looks like another descending channel. So really corrective on the way down. It's not like we've sold off aggressively. It's sort of similar. It looks like this to a degree. Really corrective on the way down there. Could probably even chalk this up in the same light as well. Very correct to move down, and definitely chalk this up in the same light. Very correct to move down, eventually a rally as well. And prices have been doing a lot of these patterns: impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse. Is this another correction for another impulse? To me, it looks like exactly that's what it is. Unless I see some really aggressive momentum that kind of breaks the low of the channel, then yeah, I'll stand corrected. But this to me just looks like another corrective move. We've tapped into previous resistance here, turned support. So that kind of gives us another instigation for another buy. I would say if you're looking to get involved with BTC for longs, you're either kind of waiting for price to clear resistance here. You can buy the breakout, wait for price to break out and look for some type of retest. Oh, can't seem to draw. Some type of retest to get long, or retest of a high there. Or wait to see if we can get another push into the low again and then try and catch some buys at the low. This, of course, is where you get the best entry possible, because you're right at the lows here, really taking the maximum advantage of that swing. This, of course, will give you the kind of highest confirmation in terms of, okay, we are breaking out, we're likely to continue, now's the time to buy, or, of course, waiting for the retest as well. So, yeah, that's kind of what I favor for BTC. Very, very bullish, unless, like I said, I see price aggressively breaking the low of the channel, then I'll say, okay, maybe we're not doing that. But to me, this looks like another correction like we've just been doing previously. And every time we've seen pretty aggressive rallies, and I think we'll probably see another one as well, back to highs and beyond. So yeah, BTC for me, still pretty bullish. I know we're coming back into this area for a retest, and like I said, that might give us another push back down again, but equally, I would expect us to come right back up. So yeah, we might see another push down, and that could actually be a nice opportunity for some buys. But unless something changes, unless we become aggressively bearish, even if we do sell off again, it's probably just going to give us another continuation, another leg to the downside of that channel before we do break higher. So yeah, that's very much my take there on BTC. Now this week kind of slow for, yeah, it has been slow. Not much has happened. I'll say maybe USD weakness has come into play a bit, but apart from that, not much has happened. Do have some pound news in about 15 minutes I need to keep an eye on. Hoodie one, all good. Was in gold buys this morning. Is back at entry. Was in huge profits this morning. Then realized the candle see last 4 candle. Then it came back to entry. Okay, holding. Yeah, gold's a bit awkward, I would say. Momentum has been decent, but especially with that kind of wick that you mentioned on the 4-hour candle, I would say that looks a little bit awkward for gold, especially because we're kind of more or less at resistance there too. But if momentum can pick up, sure. I think the buys, I mean, we do have the high of the channel, which is kind of around here, which I can see price getting to. But we are seeing a lot of wicks there, so that would be a bit of a worry for me. But on the low time frames, there is still somewhat of a bullish trend there. I mean, there is still a bullish trend there. But yeah, the rejection, not the biggest fan of. Mr. Trading Gold at 32.72, so now wait to see what price does at the current resistance at 34.40. 34.40. Oh, up there. I thought it was down here somewhere for a reason. Yeah, I mean, yeah. When the market is ranging like this, again, the best thing to do is sell high and buy low. And 34.40 is kind of where I got the high of the range, more or less. I mean, this is where we respected it on a few occasions. So if we get there again, I think there's equally a strong chance that the market could react and see some downside. Of course, waiting to see what we do there and how we respect it. But if we can see some healthy rejection, I think that's a smart place for a sell, especially getting a stop loss above that. That's kind of where I want to be in the market. Annie, what is up? Hope you're well. It's a good place to buy natural gas. Please see. Hope you're doing well. Thank you. Thank you. I'm doing good. Hope you are doing good as well. I'll take a look at natural gas for you. Andre, pound USD with UK interest rate cut. Yes, we do have that in the next 10 minutes or so. I will switch over to some pound pairs and keep a close eye on that. But yeah, we are expecting a rate cut for pound. Israel, yes, we can take a look at Euro Aussie for you, no problem. Entry was the channel, but since I did £2 lot size, I'll close the way before. Okay, let's just reverse our hold and see. Okay, fair enough. I'll go halfway in instead. Okay, yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, I think now with that rejection, I think looking for the same move might be a little bit difficult to see. Especially with the way the 4-hour candles close. I think you're asking a lot from the market to see a push all the way up there again. So I think maybe becoming a little bit more conservative, reducing the TP kind of makes sense a bit there. But yeah, in that case, yeah, you can always hold, and hopefully momentum can pick up there. But it's a pretty scary candle, I must admit. Anyway, we'll go through natural gas. We'll take a look at this one. Not a market which I do look at a lot, but we can always see what's going on. Okay, so natural gas did eventually sell off. I think the last time I looked at it was somewhere around, was it here maybe? Or there? I can't remember. But I was talking about a push to the lows here. To me, it looks like natural gas just had like a big kind of rally, test some major highs, and I think eventually you might come back all the way back to these areas. Probably even join up the support there. It looks like a massive level over here. I think eventually probably will be back at those prices. But anyway, in the meantime, natural gas, we are heading into some support now, so I wouldn't be looking for such a big move just yet. It would be nice to see kind of us rally and then maybe even look for another sell opportunity on the way down, something like this, another lower high, and then that could be a really nice trade to take. Maybe on that second attempt we get the breakthrough, but what I can say right now is that approaching support was starting to slow down, becoming a bit more corrective. So there might be some nice buys to take, actually, going a bit against the grain. But what I can see is that we're starting to find support. We're becoming a lot slower. So maybe some buys off the low, or maybe kind of even waiting for this channel to break completely and then take some buys off a retest, or even on the breakout as well. But yeah, what I'm seeing now is we're slowing down, we're becoming quite corrective, and I would suggest some buys are making sense. I'd say the two ways I'll keep an eye is if we get another sell-off, look for a buy at the low. This would be the more aggressive trade, but it gives you the best entry. Or kind of waiting for a breakout there or a retest after the breakout. That'd be the more conservative because you kind of got the confirmation of the breakout and price respecting the low. But of course, you'll be entering the market a little bit later. Might not give you the best entry possible, but you can be a bit more sure that we are going to see a move to the upside at that point. So it depends how you want to take it. But really strong support. I do think we can bounce. Like I said, the bigger move I think is still very much to the downside. But for the time being, with how corrective we've been, and especially the level coming to now, I do think natural gas can go through a bit of a bounce there. So, yeah, a good place for a buy. Either right at the lows here, 2.9, or maybe if you can clear highs around 3.1, either buying on the breakout or on the retest. Okay, so quickly take a look at pound USD. Okay, I mean, that makes sense with that reaction. Yes, Euro Aussie you can take a look at as well next, no problem. Okay, take care, Holy One, my man. Hopefully see you tomorrow. If not, have a good one. But appreciate you stopping by. Hey, thank you, Malik. Appreciate that. If you guys are enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It does really mean a lot, and of course it helps the channel grow as well. So if you are enjoying the content, drop a like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and of course hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. But appreciate that, Malik. Is August traditionally a tough month to trade? Choppy. Thanks for the content. No problem. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I wouldn't say it's tradition. I mean, in my case, not really. Looking back, I wouldn't say August is a particularly tough month, but I would say on average, momentum is less on average in the summer months from like maybe end of June, July, maybe kind of first half of August, and as we approach September, I would say you start to get the maximum momentum and volume in the market. So yeah, I would say we do tend to see a dip. I would say FX not as much because it's such a liquid market and it's 24/7. There's so much kind of transactions happening. So even in the summer months, there might be slight drop, but it's not enough where it's like, okay, it's just there's no opportunities. Maybe in other markets you'll feel that a little bit more, but FX not really. So, and I purely focus on FX really with some other markets in there. So not really too noticeable, I would say. Maybe for some people that might be the reality for them, but for me, I wouldn't say as much. For me, it kind of goes from year to year. Some months might be a bit more stale, which you wouldn't expect it to. In other months, you might be expecting less momentum, but they might be very volatile. Maybe this year it might be that the case. We'll have to wait and see. We're only 7 days in it. But yeah, traditionally there'll be less volume, but in FX, I wouldn't be too worried about that. Other markets, maybe. Okay, pound USD. So I'm going to keep a close eye because we've got the pound news pound news coming up in about 5 minutes. I don't want to miss that. I'll quickly go through Euro, Aussie, and Pound, and then I think we'll switch over to the news. So yeah, with Pound USD, as I mentioned, keeping a close eye on some shorting opportunities. We're testing some really nice levels, support, now turn resistance, hopefully. Looking for evidence of a reaction here before shorting. The goal really is to catch the next lower high and hopefully a swing back into support here. I do have some extended targets around 1.3. Again, nothing crazy here. We've had some bullish structure. That's broken. Now we've got bearish structure. Just looking for a lower high. We've pulled back into a nice area in the fib between the 0.5 and the 0.618, which is kind of my favorite zone to be trading from. Just now waiting for confirmations. We're nice and slow, but nothing there that does invite me into a trade just yet. Again, we're expecting a rate cut. We should be seeing a bit of a bearish reaction for the news. But the key thing I'll keep an eye out on is the DXY. Even if the news is pretty bearish for pound, if I'm not seeing evidence of the dollar gaining strength, I probably would hold back, because really the governing currency here of pound USD is the dollar. Even if pound is quite weak, if the dollar isn't going to turn around, we might see a scenario where we see a bearish reaction upon the news, and that gives us a bit of a move down for pound. But because USD strength isn't really coming to the market, probably only lasts like a day or two, and eventually this happens. So I need to see that kind of strength coming in for the dollar. That'll give me the confidence that we do continue lower. So not trying to get sucked into the news is basically what I'm trying to say, but we'll see. In terms of Euro Aussie, Euro Aussie, I quite like the sells for this one. It's just kind of a range we've got here, so nothing crazy. Equal highs, equal lows so far. We're doing a pretty good job at respecting the highs at 1.79, so I would suggest a push back to 1.775 looks the likely move. Longer term, I'm pretty bearish, and I'm expecting a push all the way back here. I'm not quite convinced with this bullish move. This looks far too corrective for me to expect price just to make a way back to highs. I think we're still quite overextended as well. So I do expect us eventually to see a move lower, but I wouldn't bank on that happening until I see a confident break outside of this range. So if price can give us a strong break like this, then yeah, at that point I would favor a bit of a trend to form, and probably eventually us trading back at those lows, and then either looking at a breaking retest of there for an entry, or another breaking retest slightly lower down. I'll probably go into more detail when we actually do that, if we actually do that. But for now, it's just a ranging market. If you can get some entries in around this area, some stops above the high, I think you're looking good. Then naturally some targets back into the low makes the most sense. So that's about it for Euro Aussie for now. But if we can get a breakout, I think there could be some really nice shorts in the next coming days and weeks, really. But yeah, that's kind of it for Euro Aussie. We can take a look at some other pound pairs. I mean, I'll do a little split screen. Oh, that is quite what I was looking for. Let's get that a bit more 50-50. I think that's about 50-50. Anyway, so we'll do pound USD, we'll do pound yen as well. Those are the two big boys, I would say. We've got about 2 minutes before the news comes out. So, oh no, I've got the same. There we go. Okay, I'll clear this drop to like the 15 just so we can see everything in high definition here. So yeah, we're expecting to see a bit of a reaction upon the news, and if the news comes out expecting to see a bearish one. Let me just get the calendar up. So yeah, previous 4.25 expected a drop to 4%. So that should give us a bearish reaction. And again, the emphasis on the word should. Sometimes it's not always black and white like that in the markets. Because, yeah, there's more to that than meets the eye. But on paper, we should see a bearish reaction. Also, keep in mind, we do have jobless claims this afternoon as well for USD. I think that could be fairly important as well, especially with a lot of focus on the dollar, at least for myself anyway. So I definitely need to keep an eye on that. That could maybe be a bit of an instigator for some dollar strength, hopefully. And we do have some CAD news at 3 o'clock UK time as well. So a bit of news today to keep an eye on. But of course, I'll probably say the pound's the biggest one at the moment. And then tomorrow we got CAD employment rate as well. But yeah, anyway, we'll see what happens with the pound news. King Forex, new here. It's very educative. Thanks, no problem. I'm glad you're enjoying the streams. I'm live every weekday from every weekday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. My goodness, that is a very bullish reaction, and that's why you don't trade the news, because that is a huge reaction there. And I can imagine a lot of people will be just jumping into some shorts expecting a bearish reaction. And yeah, the rates have dropped. Previous was 4.25, the rates have dropped to 4%, but we're seeing a very, very bullish reaction right now. And that's why you avoid trading the news, because initially the reaction is kind of 50-50 in my experience. Even when things are kind of like black and white, you're expecting it to do something. Sometimes it just doesn't do that. Maybe long term, we still do see a weak pound because the rates have dropped. We should see a weakness in the pound because of that. Of course, there'll be other underlying factors that will affect the strength of pound. But yeah, it's definitely a bullish reaction. So yeah, just because you're expecting something to be bearish doesn't mean you just drop into some shorts. Make sure that you're kind of backing up with valid reasons, whether it's technicals or other information that you use to take a trade. But yeah, initially very bullish reaction. Of course, it's the initial reaction. This could change over the next hour. I kind of give at least an hour for a news to breathe. So it's 12 o'clock now. I wouldn't take anything to heart until probably 1 p.m. Then I'll say, okay, we do have a bullish pound right now, or maybe this just leaves a massive wick. That could be a possibility as well. This might be the initial reaction, and we end up pulling back down and leaving a huge wick as well. So I would give it the hour just to kind of settle. But initial reaction is very, very bullish right now. And let's just change it back to the first chart. So initial reaction, very, very bullish. Huge move there, clearing resistance here. So it's going to be interesting to see how this 4 hour kind of does close. Still got another 2 hours left before it does close. But if it does close like that, that would be a solid break of resistance. It wouldn't mean that I'm looking to sell the market, looking to buy the market. So I still would be pretty bearish on pound, but I'd just be a bit cautious. I need to see evidence of selling pressure kicking in and a likely lower high forming. If I'm not seeing that, well, I'm not doing anything. But pound Pound USD is pushing up well. Of course, we should look at pound yen. That's pushing up very well as well. Looks like that level is not providing much resistance. We'll see when the candle does close, but that's looking very, very bullish. Euro pound, I'd imagine that's having a big move down. Yep, looking pretty bearish there. Pound CAD, I'd imagine some upside there. Yep, looking pretty bullish. Looks like we've managed to break resistance and probably going to get a move back to that area now. Pound CHF, I imagine that's picking up momentum as well. Yeah, that could be a nice breakout we're looking for some more upside here. Very corrective on the way down. This looks to me that we're about to pick up some momentum. Any other pound pairs? I don't think so. Pound CAD. Oh, pound Aussie and pound NZD. Yeah, that's still consolidating, but of course, seeing that initial reaction there. And pound NZD, that's seeing some upside, but that's just in a big range, so I wouldn't read too much into that anyway, to be honest. It's all over the place. Mortgage payments should come down. They'll probably go up, to be fair, Commander. They'll probably go up. You know how it is. But yeah, again, I'll give it the hour. I'll give it the hour before really taking this to heart. I mean, it's a very strong initial reaction. I am surprised how strong it is, to be fair. So, you know, kudos to pound there. But I'll see kind of on the hour how we do close. But it looks like strength has come into the market. I'm still very much looking to short pound USD. I'm gonna have to keep that keep an eye on that. Again, a key part of that is the DXY, which isn't showing me much bullish momentum yet, so that still needs work. I've quite liked pound CHF longs, but since I've in Aussie CHF longs, I'm not going to be jumping into this one, but I think that's set to see some upside. And I think even pound Aussie could see some upside. I've been quite bearish on this one long term. I still think this is due to fall, but we are respecting support really well here, and I do wonder if we can start to see a bit of a rally here now. So I would suggest anyone keep an eye on pound Aussie. There could be some buyers coming up. I would argue we're still very much in a range, but maybe should we break this to the upside, I think that could actually be a nice buy signal for us to keep pushing. But yeah, interesting stuff, I must admit, for the news. And again, we still got some more USD news coming out in about an hour and a half, jobless claims, and then some CAD news just after that as well. So a lot to take into consideration. At the moment, currently in Aussie CHF longs, so we'll just monitor that and see how that gets going. It's a long-term swing position. It's not going to be done overnight. I've just taken the long on the breakout there, just stops below the low there, and hopefully I can see a swing all the way back to that area, about 2.66 risk to reward, so I'm happy with it. But maybe we could have got a better entry if I was paying attention about a week ago, but I was abroad, so I wasn't going to do that. But yeah, lovely breakout there. Hopefully some more upside. I'll keep an eye on pound, but I need to see some selling pressure kick in sooner or later. If not, I'll be on the fence. No need to jump into anything and force anything, especially when you're getting some signs that whatever you're looking for isn't likely to happen. I've been looking to short pound USD. I've been looking to short pound yen. Not seeing evidence of that happening yet, so I'm going to have to step back. Same thing with pound yen as well. Not seeing any evidence of that happening, so I've got to step back and let the market do its thing. Good morning, Lenny. Welcome to the stream in time for the M. We'll be live again. I will be live again later today, actually, on Trading channel. So keep an eye out for his channel, because in about a couple of hours I'll be live on his channel. So keep an eye out for that. If you're not available for that stream on Trading channel, I will be live again on this channel tomorrow, same time as always, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. So if you're free, make sure you pop in, come say hi, go through a bunch of markets and have a good time with the charts. So if you are interested, hopefully we'll see you either later today or tomorrow. If you have enjoyed today's stream, guys, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and share it with your friends as well. But guys, really appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.
Introducing Zentrix AI-powered trading signals service. Tired of second-guessing your trades? Zentrix AI scans the markets 24/7 with powerful, proven indicators built to give you clarity. You get 200+ signals every day on 15-minute, 1-hour, 4-hour, and daily charts. We cover Forex, crypto, commodities, indices, and stocks, so you're covered no matter what you trade. And the best part, you get all this delivered 3 ways, every day. Web alerts give you fast, clean access right from your dashboard. Telegram delivers real-time entries, confidence levels, sentiment, and trade duration. And email gives you the full breakdown, including 2 profit target levels and deep market analysis. Just hold $5 worth of ZTR. See what you can achieve with powerful AI trading intelligence by Zentrix. Try it now. And join our Telegram channel.